How you doing? David Taub here, co-creator of NextLevelGuitar.com. Hope all is going well, and I hope your guitar journeys are going famously. And today I have a cool lesson for lead guitar on how to bring some different sounds into your playing and improvisation and jamming. We're going to be in the key of G minor, and we're going to be using a jam track. And this jam track is just a simple 2-chord change. It's just a G minor 9 to a C9. So it's in the key of G minor, and it goes from a 1 minor chord, the G minor 9, to a 4 major type chord, the C9. Now we're going to get into some cool things using the Dorian mode. And now the Dorian mode, if you haven't used it and you're like a rock player or a blues player, you really want to get into it because it sounds so great over many rock jams and many blues jams. And hey, if you have a minute, please subscribe to the channel. Maybe leave a comment below. Let us know how you like the lesson. Let us know what you'd like to learn more about, what other lessons you'd like to see. And if you like the lesson, click the like button, give us a thumbs up. Subscribing to the channel, that really helps us keep the content coming, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. And we're jamming over this really cool 2-chord kind of funky rock jam, and I'm going to tell you later how you can get this jam track, because you definitely want to use these devices and techniques that I'm going to teach you and practice them over jam tracks. That really gives it some musical context, right, and put some rhythm behind your playing. So I'll tell you how you get the jam track in a minute, but so we're in the key of G minor, so instantly you know, if you're in minor key, 95% of the time you could use minor, pentatonic, and blues scales over all the chords. And you could also use the Dorian mode. And here's why, and this is really critical, and it's always so important to remember to always know the chords you're jamming over. That's what's really going to give you the full roadmap to the soloing avenues. It's the chords. The key just tells you part of the story, but you really want to know the chords. And I'm talking about here jamming over all the chords, soloing over what relates to all. We want to use Dorian. G Dorian over both chords. Okay, so just remember that one rule. In a minor key progression, if you want to solo over all the chords, you can always use natural minor unless the 4 chord, if there is one, is major, or the 2 chord is minor. In those 2 instances, you would use the Dorian mode. And some devices using Dorian that'll sound different from pentatonic, because remember, these are diatonic scales, 7-note scales. So playing in the modes, when you're using a different mode, you're getting a different mood, right? And it's all about conveying the emotion and the mood. And playing in the modes, you're just using variations of major scales. That's all they are, just variations of major scales. And in this particular instance, Dorian, which is the 2nd mode in any major key, G Dorian we're going to play over both chords. G Dorian is the same as F major. So if you know your major scales, just play them in the key of F, but start on and emphasize the G notes. We're really going to emphasize the G notes in this because we're in G minor, right? And that's all the modes are, really. Anytime you play a major scale and you start on any note other than the root note, you're playing in the modes, and you're emphasizing that other note, but the root, you're playing modally. It's easy, very easy. So let me show you a couple of shapes that we were using. Of course, you probably know your G minor, pentatonic, and blues scale, right? We were using that one, and you could use the expanded minor, pentatonic, and blues scale in the key of G. And that G minor, pentatonic, and blues scale is G, B flat, C, D flat, D, and F. So now the Dorian mode, we're going to add 2 notes basically to minor pentatonic, And the Dorian will look like this. G, A. We're adding the second. And then of course you have your B flat. C, D. We're adding the E note. We're adding that sixth. And F. Now if I play that scale all the way up and down, you could use this shape. Okay, so now we have these extra note choices, these half steps, and we could commingle and mix minor pentatonic and blues, G Dorian, F major, right? And know where those G notes are all over the neck is a good idea because we're really going to resolve to those G notes. Okay, so now let's get into some devices and licks that we can use over this track. And if you want to see those scales on paper, I can help you with that. Click the link below and I'll send you a free video lesson that's going to have more soloing tips and devices and all kinds of soloing tricks and a big illustrated ebook in which I diagram out tons and tons of scales, including Dorian and minor pentatonic and many others. You can see these all on paper. It's really nice to look at them and study them that way, right? And just click on that link below. I'll send it to you for free. You get the free ebook, the free video lesson from Next Level Guitar. So here's a cool little thing you could do with the Dorian. Now remember the top three strings in Dorian, right? But if we add the blue note, right? We have that blue note in there. So something we could do is we could bend the half step. So I'm bending on the 5th fret on the high E string up to the 6th fret. Bending that second up to the flat 3rd. And then do the same thing on the B string. And then the same thing on the G string because you're bending to the blue note there. Right? So you get this. But if you do it with like a pull off, you get a cool lick. So I'm bending up, releasing, and then pulling off to the 1st finger, which is at the 3rd fret on each of those strings. I'll do it slow. So bend, release, pull off, bend, release, pull off, bend, release, pull off. And then after the last pull off, I slide to the 2nd fret because remember, that's that A note. You can bend that to the half step. So you get this. And then I went 3rd and 5th fret. I resolved it to that G note. So you heard me play that lick in the intro. That's a cool one too if you do a hammer, 2nd to 3rd fret on the G string. So now you know the bass lick. There's so many ways to vary that. Right? And just doing little hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, double up on the notes. So that's a cool little device that you could do just vertically working up the strings because we have these extra notes in the Dorian that you don't have in the minor pentatonic scale, and they add a lot of flavor and different color to your lead playing. Try it over the track. And hey, get this jam track so you have some application to practice over, right? It's great musical application. Jam tracks are an invaluable tool for the practicing guitarist. I'm going to give you this one and 5 other ones, 6 jam tracks for free. Click on the link in the YouTube description box below and I'll send them to you for free. 6 jam tracks plus 2 ebooks. One is my jam track coach where I go over the jam tracks one at a time, all 6 of them, and suggest things to play and stuff to try, sound a little different, and go over the chords and how to figure out what to play over what and why it works. And then I also have another ebook where I diagram out all the scales. So you see all the scales I'm talking about. If you're not sure of them, just flip it to the ebook and you got them. 6 jam tracks, 2 ebooks for free. Click on that link. Now another cool thing I was doing was I was using a hammer-on and pull-off or a trill technique as I was ascending up the scale. So remember, if we start on the D string on the 2nd fret, this Dorian looks like this. If we continue that, you get this. Right? There's another Dorian shape that you can put into your arsenal. Right? There's my G note. Okay, so that's awesome. And if you want to practice that, try connecting both of those together. You know, descending down the other one, and maybe ascending up this one, so you get something like this. Right? And just practice that down and up until you could really see those connections, right? So now what we'll do is we're going to do this little hammer on each note as we go up the scale. So this is a basic shape we're going to play. But what we're going to do is we're going to use a hammer on and a pull off for each one. We'll try that first. So it'll sound like this. And then you could end that on the G note. 8th fret on the B string. That's a great lick that builds a lot of tension. And when you get solid with it, you know, you can skip around. You don't have to play it right in sequence like that. Or you could do like a trill, a repeated series of hammer and pull-offs on each one. And that's a cool little lick scale device that you could really do with any scale, right, in any position. There, I connected it back into the first lick we were doing. So that's something that you could use throughout your playing in any scale, but it really works nice in these half steps. So if you haven't used this Dorian mode, really exploit those half steps. All I was doing there was bending each time I was at a half step. Right? Right here, right there. And you could get some really cool melodic sounds out of that. I get a lot of questions on gear, so I like to go over what I'm using in each particular video. When I'm teaching video by video, I tend to keep things really simple. I'm playing a USA-made Paul Reed Smith 513 guitar. I'm playing out of the back two pickups I believe I did for most of the intro. And plugged straight into the front of a PRS Archon 25 watt 112 combo amp. I'm playing through the lead channel, and in the effects loop, as far as effects, all I have is a Keeley Caverns pedal. That's it. And that pedal I have a little delay and a little reverb. And that's it. So there's really cool lick devices and a little bit about the Dorian mode. And remember, if you want to learn more about the Dorian mode, be sure to get my ebook, because click on that link below, because I go over not just the scales in depth, but I also go over the modes and modal playing and the theory behind it. And it's really, I really go in deep explanation and draw those modes out. So just click on that link. I'm David Taub from nextlevelguitar.com. Really appreciate your support over the years. Keep putting those guitars in your hands every day. Stay tuned, got lots more great stuff coming, more great content, more great lessons. And remember, your playing is an evolution. Rock on.